Om Jnanaatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupak Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tushe Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome again to Sri Dhamma Dharashtakam class. We are continuing now today the Sri Dhamma Dharashtakam, and we are beginning to conclude our study of this text. We have been going over for the past few Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays of Kartik. We have been going over the various word-for-word meanings of this illustrious and glorious Shastra. And discussing these, I am hoping that our meditations while studying this elevated text have been deep and have been nourished and enriched by their studies. If even at least one person has been able to appreciate the Dhamma Dharashtakam slightly deeper by these classes, then I would consider these classes a success. So, we are continuing then. This will be definitely the last week of discussing Dhamma Dharashtakam. However, for the remainder of Kartik, we may also discuss other texts as well. Not other texts, sorry. We may discuss the pastime. Well, yeah, we are discussing other texts. We'll be discussing the other texts of Bhagavatam from this pastime as well. So anyways, we'll do a short recap. Actually, we'll do a slightly longer recap because today will likely be the last recap. And then we'll discuss the 8th text. And then maybe, if time permits, we will hear a pastime from the Madhya Lila of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, which illustrates a point. If we do not have time for it, we will discuss it tomorrow. But so, without further ado, let us discuss the recap of the Dhamma Dharashtakam, and then we will discuss the 8th text, the 8th and final text, again, of this glorious Shastra. We will discuss it, and then we will proceed over the next few days to discuss further the pastimes of Damodar Lila. So then, how do we begin? So many times now we have spoken it, and we will speak it again once more. The first 2 texts of Sri Dhamma Dharashtakam are in fact one big sentence. And what does that one big sentence say? That one big sentence is glorifying the Supreme Lord and glorifying Him progressively with different nouns. There is only one verb, namami. I offer my respects. And by offering these respects, Srila Satyavrata Muni, he is describing all the different qualities. Who is this personality that I worship? Satyavrata Muni is not just worshipping any personality. He is worshipping specifically Ishvar. Namam Ishvaram. That Ishvar who is the supreme controller of all things. And who is my Lord. I am worshipping Him. Namam Ishvaram. But what is the nature of this Ishwar? What is the nature of this supreme controller? Satyavrata Muni, he goes higher and higher and higher and higher in his descriptions of the personality that he worships. And it is a personality, not as the impersonalists say, some impersonal being. They will say the highest thing is Namami, the highest thing is me, because I am Bhagavan. But no, this is not. This is not what we believe, nor is this what Satyavrata Muni believes, nor is this what the Vedic literature says, nor is this what anyone should believe. Namamishwaram Sachid Ananda Rupam. So, what is the nature then of this personality? He is Sachid Ananda Rupam. Because how can he be so full of Sachid Ananda if he is not having a personality? Chit implies personality. Chit requires personality. For a person to be conscious, impersonal things are not conscious. The Brahman effulgence of its own is not effulgence. Is not conscious. Electricity is not conscious. A table is not conscious. These things exist, but they are not conscious. Dogs are conscious. Cows are conscious. Humans are conscious. And therefore they have chit. How can we say that the Supreme Lord does not have chit when we do? This is the foolishness to say that the Supreme Lord is not a person. And even more, how can we say he has ananda if he is not a person? Children playing, they have bliss. Only a slight echo of bliss. How much greater then is the ananda, the transcendental joy that the Supreme Lord feels? How much greater is that? And how can we deny that to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? How can we say the little child, he feels some joy playing cricket? Even we can say the devotee feels some bliss singing kirtan, and yet the Supreme Lord, he feels none of that. But how can he feel that if he is not a person? Bliss is something we experience, and in order to experience something, we must be conscious. So if he is not a personality, then he can't be conscious, and therefore he can't have chit. But if he can't have chit, then he can't have ananda either. So here we find Mayavad refuted. Namamishwaram Sachid Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalang Gokule Brajamanam. So even higher then is the Lord with his qualities. Lasat Kundalam, his earrings swaying back and forth, his shark-shaped earrings. Why are they swinging back and forth? Well, we'll hear about that in a second. Because even higher than his qualities are his associates. Gokule Brajamanam. This is even higher. The Supreme Lord with his associates is infinitely more valuable than the Supreme Lord on his own. Krishna, in fact, on his own, has very little value. Yeah, and then what is even higher than that? What is even higher? What is even higher than the Supreme Lord with all his associates? It is the Supreme Lord with all of his associates in Vraj performing pastimes. This is it. This is it. This is the nature of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, he is he is performing so many pastimes. This is what the word Deva means. On one sense, Deva means, the demigod, or it can mean the Supreme Lord, not just a demigod. Deva also can be coming from the root Div. the, to the having pastimes. The word Deva can mean that supreme being who is manifesting so many beautiful pastimes. And this is the meaning that is being evoked here. So this personality, he's having beautiful qualities, beautiful associates, and highest of all, he is having beautiful pastimes. Yashodabhiyo lukaladhavamanam, filled with fear. Fear of Mother Yashoda, Krishna runs as fast as he can. But param rishtamatyantato drutya gopya. He is able to be caught from behind by that special gopi. And not just Mother Yashoda, but all the gopis and all the gopas of Braj are able to catch him from behind. Why? Because Krishna, no matter what he tries, he cannot run away from his devotees. So therefore, param rishtam, he is caught from behind. Because he is not giving up. He is not saying, okay, now my devotee can catch me. Whether Krishna likes it or not, his devotee captures him. And only those denizens of Vraj, only those gopis and gopas have the Vraja bhakti, which is able to capture Krishna and stop him from running away. And then we hear Rudantam Mohor Netra Yugmam Rijantam Karam Bhoja Yugmena Satanka Netram. We hear that he is rubbing his eyes with his lotus hands. Rubbing them, why? Maybe there are no tears coming, and he's hoping Mother Yashoda will be merciful unto him with her maternal feelings if he has tears flowing from his eyes. Or maybe the tears are coming, and he's thinking, Mother Yashoda, she will not stop, so I must see where I'm going so I can run away. Both of these are valid options, and both of these may very well be what is happening. But then what do we hear? Muhoshvasakam patri rekhanka kantha sthita graivam damodaram bhakti baddham. This Supreme Lord, who he is being described, we do not know his name yet. He has these beautiful necklaces on his neck and 3 lions on his neck, just like the conch shell. And who is he? Who is this personality? He is Damodar. Now we hear the name. Who is this personality? Who is this Supreme Lord? He is Damodar. He who is bound at the stomach. And even higher than his name, even higher than anything else, is the highest consideration of them all. He is Bhakti Baddham. He is bound only by Bhakti and by Bhakti. This is the personality that Satyavrata Muni is worshipping. This is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. He who is Bhakti Baddham. And then we hear, Iti driksva lilabhir ananda kunde svaghoshanima jantam akhyapayantam. Tadyeshita gyeshu bhaktarjita tvam puna prematastam shakta vritti vande. Now we hear the glories. Now we hear the glories of hearing these pastimes, of witnessing these pastimes. Iti drik swali labhir. Iti drik swali labhir. After seeing these pastimes, through these pastimes, 2 things are being achieved. Ananda kunde svaghosham nimajantam. The Supreme Lord, he is placing into the pond of divine bliss, Ananda Kund. He is placing who? Svaghosham, his associates, nimajantam, placing them. So through this pastime, his associates are tasting such great bliss, such great ecstasy in the pond of great bliss. But also Svaghosham can mean the proclamation, the glorification of his devotees. And therefore, Krishna is placing himself in that ocean, in that pond of great bliss. How? By singing the glories of his devotees through his beautiful pastimes. And then akhyapayantam tadiyeshitagyeshu bhaktairjitatvam. Glorification to those who have the understanding of the elevated nature of the devotees. Krishna, he is declaring a very high thing. Bhaktairjitatvam. That he is conquered by his devotees. And therefore, punah prematastam shatavriti vande. To him I give my thousands and thousands and thousands of worship again and again and again and again. And then what do we hear? Varam deva mokshana mokshavadhim va nachanyam vrineham vareshadapiha. Idam teva purnata gopala balam sadame manasya virastam kimanyai. Idante mukham bhojamatyanta nilay vritam kuntalay snigdha raktascha gopya. Muhushchumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasavirastam alam rakshalabhai. Texts 4 and 5, like 1 and 2, are intimately connected. They are referring to eagerness to see the Lord, eagerness to have darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, eagerness for all of these things, and the value that such things have. Why? Because Satyavrata Muni, he is praying to who? He is praying to Vareshad. Vareshad, that Supreme Lord who is able to give all things. All things, all boons. There is nothing that Supreme Lord can give. And so that Supreme Lord asks, what can I give you? And what does Satyavrata Muni say? Varam deva moksha na. I don't want any boons, O Deva, O personality who is manifesting so many beautiful pastimes. Nor do I want moksha, any impersonal liberation. Moksha vadhimva. Nor do I want any limit of mukti. I don't even want to go to Vaikuntha. This is this intensity by which Satyavrata Muni is praying. Nachanyam vrine. Nachanyam. Nor do I want anything else. Apiha. Here in Vraj. I am here in Vraj, Iha. And Nachanyam. Nachanyam. I do not pray for anything else. Meaning, of course, any of the other great things that living in Vraj can give me. I pray for none of those things. None of the rewards that bhakti can give, even beyond going back home, back to Godhead. I pray for none of those things. Vrineham. So the Supreme Lord may say then, well, what do you pray for then? What is it that you want? Idam te vapurnatha gopala balam sada me manasya rastam kimanyahi. What then does Satyavrata Muni want? It is so clear. So clear to him. And it should also be so clear to us. What he wants is this form. Gopala Balam, the form of Gopal, protector of the cows, this sweet boy who is not, who is Lord. Sadame manasya virastam kimanyahi. Please let him be manifested in my heart. There is no use, kimanyahi. There is no use for any other form to be manifested. And there is no use of any other boon to be there. And he continues this. Idam te mukham bhoja matyanta nilair vritam kuntalai snigdha raktascha gopya mushchumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasya virastam malam rakshalabhai. This form, not just this form, but the beautiful face. With transcendental dark hair that is inconceivable to my mind, with cheeks that are being kissed by Mother Jashoda, with lips that are red like the bimba fruit. I want to see this face. Let it be constantly manifested in my heart. But with this desire, Satyavrata Muni, he comes to a realization. What is his realization? His realization is that actually, even if I beg and beg and beg, how will I be able to see the Lord? How will I be able to see the Lord? Please. How is this possible? And so he begins with the best way by which one is able to see the Lord, by which the way anyone is able to achieve the favor of the Lord. And how is that? Through Nama Kirtan. So in 6 and 7, this is the perfection of Satyavrata Muni's desire to see the Lord. And how does it begin? Namo Deva Damo Dharananta Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukha Jalabdhi Magnam Kripadrishti Vristyati Dinam Batanu Grihane Shama Magyam Edhyakshi Drishya Kuvairatma Jao Badha Murtyaiva Yadva Tvaya Mochitao Bhakti Bhajao Krito Cha Tatha prema bhaktim swakame prayacha namukshe graho mesti damodareha. Now he's engaging in kirtan. Namo deva damo dharananta Vishnu. Oh Deva. Oh great personality with such a beautiful form. Let me see that form. Damodar. That supreme personality of Godhead who allows his devotees to bind him up. Please show again this quality of yours, that you allow such control to be had by your devotees over you. Ananta, you are unlimited. So please, with your unlimited potency, with your unlimited nature, it is not impossible for you. In fact, it is very possible for you to manifest before me. Oh Vishnu. Oh Vishnu. Vishnu, oh Vishnu. You are ever present. Vishnu means a personality who is ever present, who is everywhere, who is all pervading. You are all pervading. Therefore, it is not even an extra act of work for you to appear before me. Because practically speaking, you are already present before me. Please be present before me in this form. Please manifest yourself like this. Because otherwise, I am such a fallen person. I'm such a fallen person. All that I want is for you to shower your mercy onto me in the form of being able to see you. Otherwise, I'm entangled in this web of suffering. And why am I the most fallen? Again, because of nothing less than I am being devoid of the association of the devotees. Association of the devotees is param dharma. There is no higher dharma than Vaishnav Sangha. We should always strive to associate with the devotees. And this is how Sanatana Goswami says. This is the nature of being the most fallen personality. So please let me see this now, this form before my very eyes. He has changed the nature of his request. Before he was saying, please Lord, I want to see this form in my heart constantly. But now he's saying something greater. He's saying, please Lord, manifest yourself in front of me fully. This is the way by which you may shower your mercy upon me. In fact, there is no other way that I may be receiving your mercy. And so after engaging in this kirtan, Satyavrata Muni, he began to taste bhav, the 8th platform of devotional service, the 8th level of devotional service. And on this level of bhav, he began to realize something more than his point about kirtan. He began to realize even if the Supreme Lord appears before me, he may disappear at some point. And even then, it's very unlikely he would appear before me at all. Oh, but there is a solution. There is a way that I can solve both of these problems. If I have prem, if I have Krishna prem, then the Supreme Lord, he must appear before me. And when he appears before me, he must stay before me. He is not able to run away. The Supreme Lord has no freedom in that regard. And that way, my desire will be fulfilled. Not only will it be fulfilled, but the heartbreak of the Lord appearing before me and then potentially disappearing, that will be quelled, that will be quenched, that will be destroyed. So he thinks, now, please give me prem. This is the way by which all of these desires, which have been beginning in the fourth text with Namodeva, not Namodeva, which Varam Deva Moksha Namoksha Vadhimva, all of it has come now to the climax of this seventh text. And he's saying, Tata Prema Bhaktim Swakam Me Prayacha, give me that bhakti of yours. Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareha. Trust me, I don't want anything else but this form of Damodar. But what does he say? Tata Prema, this Prema Bhakti. Why is he saying this Prema Bhakti? Because Kuveratma Jau Bhada Murtyaiva Yadva Tvaya Mochitao Bhakti Bhajao Kritaucha. Because you also already so mercifully gave your mercy to those brothers, Manigriva and Nalakuvera. Both of those received your mercy. If they received your mercy of liberation, then why can't I receive not just the mercy of liberation? Because they did not just receive the mercy of liberation. Mochitao, yes, but bhakti bhajao kritao cha. Also devotional service. Also bhakti. You gave them bhakti as well, not just liberation. I am throwing away the liberation. Na mokshe graho mesti damodareha. I don't want the moksha. Please only mercifully grant me. Grant me what? Grant me bhakti. Tata prema bhaktim swakam me prayacha. Grant me this bhakti, your prema bhakti. Because then I will be able to see the Supreme Lord before me. Always. He will have no other option. Kuveratma jaubada murtyaiva yadva tvaya mochitao bhakti bhajo kritaucha. Even though, as I said before, Ati Dinam, I am the most fallen. I am the most fallen. Still, you gave so much mercy to those two trees. Please give your mercy to me as well. This is the prayer of Satyavrata Muni. And with that build-up now, we finally reach text 8. This text now is the conclusion of the Dhamma Dharashtakam. And Satyavrata Muni, he concludes with these words. Namaste stu dhamne spura dipti dhamne tvadi yodaraya tha vishvasya dhamne namo radhikaya tvadiyai piriyai namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya namo Untitled devaya tobhyam. Namaste stu dhamne spura dipti dhamne. Here, we're hearing something very, very sweet. Namaste, as we've already established, like Namaste Narasimhaya. I'm offering my obeisances. May my obeisances to you, may there be there. Namaste stu dhamne spurat dipti dhamne. Onto the dhamne means the rope of Damodar. Namaste stu dhamne, and then spurat dipti dhamne. So spurat, it is splendorous. And dipti dhamne, dham, of the transcendental abode of the Lord. So I am giving my obeisances onto the rope around your waist, which is that, and the effulgent abode, but which also is the effulgent abode, and we'll get to that to a second. Tvadiya udaraya, tvadi yodaraya, onto your belly. So here we find Damodar, he's being split into the two aspects. Damne, the rope, and Udara, the stomach. Namastestu Dhamne and Twadiodaraya. Udaraya. Udaraya, Dhamne Udaraya. The two aspects, the rope and the belly. So here we find Damodar, he is being worshipped so clearly. We'll find this 8th text. This is the Radha Damodar text. This is a text glorifying Radha Damodar. So it is beginning with Damne, the rope, and then it's going to the higher thing, the belly, Udara. Or we can understand maybe the Udara is not the superior thing, but it's starting on the on the rope, and because the rope is resting on the belly, then it is speaking of the belly. Twadiodarayatha Vishwasya Dhamne. And I give my obeisances. So I give my obeisances onto that rope, the effulgent abode. And I also give my obeisances to your belly, which is Vishwasya Dhamne, which is the shelter of the whole universe, which is the abode of the whole universe. Here we find Dhamne, Dhamne. Dhamne Spurat Dipti Dhamne and Tvadi Yodarayatha Vishwasya Dhamne. So each one is being referred to as the abode, as a dham. So Dhamne, Dipti Dhamne and Vishwasya Dhamne. So this is the initial part. And then we hear Namo Radhikaya Twadya Priyaya Namananta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam. Now there is obeisances to Srimati Radhika. Nama, again, they're being offered. Radhikaya, the dative. We find this. It's like Vishnave or Keshavaya. Radhikaya is also one. Onto me is the dative. So it's like when I say I kick the ball, the verb that I'm doing is I am kicking the ball. The verb is directly attacking the ball. But if I kick the ball to Bob, then I kick the ball, but I'm kicking it to Bob for the purpose of Bob. I give prayers for you. Here, Namaste, or Namo Radhikaya, my obeisances for Srimati Radhika. Tvadiya Priyaya, that great beloved. Namo Nanta Lilaya. Again, I'm giving obeisances, Nama. Unto Ananta Lilaya, the unlimited pastimes. Devaya Tubhyam. And unto you, O Transcendental Supreme Deva, Tubhyam, unto you I give my Nama. I give my obeisances. So there we have it. Dhamma Dharashtakam completed. Now we'll speak a little bit from the commentaries of Srila Sanatana Goswami, Acharya Pad. We will speak something from that, and then we will conclude for today in a bit. So, there are a few things to understand from this text. Firstly, there is a very, very profound principle regarding the glories of the devotee. The glories of the devotee are immense. They are amazing. They are worshipable. And how are they so? Well, first we need to take a few steps back. Tvadi Yodarayatha Vishwasya Dhamne. We find both of, and then also Dhamne Spurat Dipti Dhamne. Both of these are being glorified in very specific ways. First, there is the rope. The rope is being worshipped as being the effulgent abode, like this. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that actually the rope that was used to bind Damodar was actually composed of pure condensed Brahman effulgence. Pure condensed Brahman effulgence. How do we understand this then? If it is meant to be bhakti? Well, we can understand this because actually When Brahman effulgence becomes condensed, then it is taking form. Actually, the Brahman effulgence we normally refer to is sort of like this vague sea. But if you compact it up, it takes shape and it takes form, and that form is Damodar. And so the rope, which is part of his abode, also takes up this quality very naturally. It is also composed of a similar substance. So therefore, it is glorified like this. But Tvadi Yodarayatha Vishvasya Dhamne, that Krishna's belly, it is the shelter. It is the shelter of all of the planetary systems. You might say, what? What do you mean? The little child's belly. How is it that the whole universe is on there? Well, what do we know? In Bhagavatam. We hear so nicely in Srimad Bhagavatam the description of how the universes are created. First Mahavishnu, he manifests the pradhana, and injecting it with the jivas and the time factor, it becomes the lotus flower. And from that lotus flower comes Brahma, and Brahma assembles all of reality upon this lotus flower. So like this, we find all the planetary systems, not even on Damodar, but an expansion of an expansion of an expansion, actually. In Caitanya Caritamrita, we've heard the descriptions of all the different Chaturvyuhas and all. But an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of an expansion. From his belly comes are rested all of the universes upon the lotus which stems from it. If this is only done by a fraction of Krishna, then how glorious is his belly? Then how much can we worship it? This Udara is very worshipable, very special. And so not just the 14 planetary systems of one universe, but all of the planetary systems of all universes, of all reality, they rest and take shelter in the transcendental belly of Damodar. The Udar of Damodar is so valuable. And yet, there is something even higher than this. Even higher than Krishna's position in being able to situate all the planetary systems on his belly. Even higher are the devotees which make Damodar Bhakti Baddham. Because by conquering Krishna, by being able to bind Krishna up, by being able to tie Krishna up, by being able to tie Krishna up on by being able to tie Krishna up on that stomach, which is the shelter. The shelter of what? Which is the shelter of all the universes. By being able to bind that up, they conquer all the universes. They conquer everything. Nothing is able to conquer the devotee. So we shouldn't have any worry, actually. We should not have much worry. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? Because actually, if we are properly executing devotional service, if we are under the care of the devotees, then we will find that actually we are being connected to personalities who have conquered all of reality. Because they conquer Krishna, and Krishna is the foundation of all of reality. I'm reminded some Srila Prabhupada disciples, they say when they first saw Srila Prabhupada, they thought, wow, I am seeing the Prime Minister of the universe before me. Very sweet description. Wow. Who is this personality who I'm seeing before me? So amazing. And in fact, even when we hear Srila Prabhupada's classes, actually there was a debate once being held by some devotees. And His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj was speaking there. And they were saying this and that, and they're saying, oh, Prabhupada couldn't have done this, Prabhupada couldn't have done that, and they were saying all of these sorts of things. And Jayadvaita Swami, what did he say? He said, if Srila Prabhupada wanted to, he could eat the whole world tomorrow, or even today. And this is true. This is true. Why? Not out of some fanaticism. We say this, not, oh, my guru is so great, oh, you know, no, out of logic, out of Shastra. Because if, Tvadi Udarayatha Vishvasya Dhamne, if we are worshipping that Udara, which is the Vishvasya Dhamne, which is of the entire universe, the shelter, the thing upon which the entire universe is sheltered upon. If they have conquered that, then they have conquered all reality. There is no victory left for the devotee to have. The devotee has all that they'll ever need. The devotee has the highest achievements. The devotee has the highest conquest. The devotee, in all of his greatness, has achieved brilliance beyond any of our understanding. And so, like this, we understand. This is the nature, again, of the great devotees. This is why we must worship the great devotees, how high they are, how elevated they are. And to think how simple they are. These simple cowherd boys and cowherd girls hold in their hands greater power than any king could ever imagine. And what do they do with it? They actually do the greatest thing of all. They play with Krishna with it. It's the glories of the great devotees. Shri Shri Vaishnav Thakur ki jai. Shri Shri Vaishnavi Thakurani ki jai. So, when we are associating with great devotees, we should think, not that this is just some person. This person has conquered all of reality. Therefore, there is no fear for them. Who are they to fear anything? Everything has already been conquered, because the great devotees have already conquered Krishna. Very beautiful, very deep things. And then, what do we hear? After this, Satyavrata Muni is thinking, I can only achieve this high thing through one means, through one method. And what is that method? I can only achieve these things through the singular method of what? Of receiving the mercy of the devotee. The devotees have such great, such amazing potencies, and they have such a great treasure, that prema bhakti, by which they conquer all reality. Not that they care about conquering all reality. Nachanyam vrineham vareshadapiha. All the benefits of bhakti are useless, only that they may see the supreme form, the form of the Supreme Lord, the supreme form of the Supreme Lord. So then, who does he pray to? Namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya namananta lilaya devaya tobhyam. He prays now to that Srimati Radharani. And this month is Srimati Radharani's month. Kartik is the month of Srimati Radharani. The name Damodar is given because all the names, they are associated with Krishna. In the Vaishnav calendar, each month is given a certain name based on Krishna's names. And so the Damodar month name is given. But this is actually a very appropriate name because it's the month of Srimati Radharani. And the form of Damodar is the form, or the name of Damodar is a name which speaks most strongly to Krishna as being conquered by Radharani, being conquered by his devotees. So then, this Radharani, to this Radharani, Srila Satyavrata Muni is praying. And he's saying, Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya. Already in these lines, there are some very deep purports. There are some very deep ideas, some very deep notions. And what are they? They are, again, that of all of the devotees, because for Satyavrata Muni, he is thinking, I'm trying to get the mercy of the devotees. If we want to get the mercy of the devotees, we should pray to the greatest of all devotees. And who are the greatest of all devotees? Srimati Radharani. And sometimes you could also say that Radhikaya means all the gopis. Or you could say it only means Srimati Radharani. That is up to the individual to decide. But what is the meaning of using this name? There are two general meanings, which are coming from the basic idea. Because what does the name Radharani mean? We were discussing a while ago the nature of the fact that the name of Srimati Radhika is not mentioned in any of the Bhagavad Purana. Any of the texts of the Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam, they do not mention Srimati Radharani's transcendental name. There is no mention of her name. But, except for one point, in which Chandravali, she sees a footprint of a very special gopi, and she recognizes it, and she says, oh, Aradhana. She speaks about the glories that this gopi has worshipped Krishna better than all of us, better than any of us ever could. Better than any of us gopis ever could. This gopi who we are not mentioning, this gopi who we are not mentioning the name of, for reasons that we discussed earlier, she has worshipped so greatly. And where does his name Radhika come from? It comes from this. So it is hidden in this part. Aradhana. This is where her name comes from. That gopi who worships the greatest. And so we might say, Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai. Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai. I worship this personality who worships you greater than anyone else, and is therefore your beloved. Or we could take it another way. We could say that it doesn't mean that personality with the highest qualities. With the highest qualities of being the greatest worshipper, greatest devotees. No. It could also just mean Radhika. I worship that Radhika who is special to Krishna for no reason. She is special because she is Srimati Radharani. This is why I mention her. These are the two meanings. We could speak a little bit more, but we'll move on. And Twadiyai Priyayai, your beloved. This can mean either one. It can either mean the beloved of Krishna or the beloved of Srimati Radharani. But either way, worshipping together. We can see here, that's why this text 8 is worshipping Radha Damodar. And then we hear the last part, Namananta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam. Because we're following the principle, Madhurena Samapayet, that all things should be ended very sweetly. And so there's a very sweet mention. Actually, Satyavrata Muni, he wants to at this point to glorify the Ras Lila, all of these high pastimes, he wants to. But he knows this is too high. We should not discuss these things openly. And therefore he says, Namo Nanta Lilaya. I give worship unto all of these limitless pastimes. Devaya Tubhyam. Unto you, again, Deva, that personality who is having so many wonderful pastimes. Namo Nanta Lilaya. I do not want to mention them, all of these high pastimes with Srimati Radharani and the gopis, but I do need to worship them, because this is the apex of my meditation. This is the apex of my worship. And so therefore, Namo Nanta Lilaya. I am worshipping them, but I am not specifying them, because we should not speak openly about the Ras Lila. Anyone who is saying, oh, for this special month I'm meditating constantly on the Ras Lila, unless you are having explicit permission from your spiritual master, or you are at a very high level of spiritual practice, you should not do. These things are not meant to be openly broadcast. Srila Prabhupada was once asked by some people, Srila Prabhupada, please speak some Ras Lila Katha for us. And Prabhupada said, oh, no. I am not qualified to hear Ras Lila, let alone to speak it. So, we should understand it's a very elevated high thing, which is why it has not been mentioned. Also, Ananta Lila, we should also know, it also includes all the other pastimes. But in context, it is specifically referring to those rasic, high, Ras Lila style pastimes. Actually, Ananta Lila means all pastimes. All pastimes are included in this transaction, in this term. All of the pastimes are being mentioned, and all of them are being glorified. But the reason why they haven't been elaborated upon is naturally Satyavrata Muni would have wanted to have glorified the highest pastimes. But how could he? How could he do such a thing in public? How could he do such a thing outside of the intimacy of secrecy, where such confidential topics should be discussed? Anyways, with that, we have concluded Sri Dhamma Dharashtakam. Tomorrow, I will discuss one pastime. I'll end here because I don't want to cut the pastime in half. But tomorrow, we will discuss one pastime that illustrates another point that I didn't touch upon in this text. And then we will begin to hear maybe the pastime, the Damodar Lila pastime. But until then, please enjoy the rest of your Kartik. Please meditate upon these meanings as you sing Dhamma Dharashtakam, and most of all, please bless me and pray for me. Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Srimati Radharani ki jai, Shri Shri Sanatana Goswami ki jai, Shri Hari Bhakti Vilasa ki jai, Shri Satyavrata Muni ki jai, Shri Padma Purana ki jai, Shri Shri Kartik Masa ki jai, Shri Urja Vrata ki jai, Shri Urjeshwari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.